Welcome to Ask Ms. ERP. The topic of this video is what is special about ERP data? Hello everyone, Ms. ERP here. Some may say that data is just data, but I would disagree. I believe that enterprise application data is among the most important data that your company has. Depending on what you define as your ERP, it likely contains most, if not all, of your financial data, used for both internal and external results. If your ERP also has HR, your precious people information is in there. Also, asset information is usually in your ERP, at least at a summary level. If you have an enterprise asset management system, then all the same concepts apply there. Similarly for a CRM system, as it will contain your key customer information. To really understand how important this data is, consider what your world would look like if you suddenly lost it. It doesn't matter how well you implement a system, ERP or otherwise. If there's no trust in the data, user adoption will never be what you hoped for. Particularly for ERP systems, there are also likely regulatory compliance requirements that should drive data accuracy, transparency, and auditability. When you consider that the risks include financial penalties and negative market perceptions, and possibly even jail time for company officers, it should be easy to convince your organization of the importance of ERP data. The most critical reason to treat your ERP data as a valuable corporate asset is the impact that it has on decision-making. You could easily miss revenue opportunities due to lack of insight. Activities like mergers and acquisitions usually require data consolidation from acquired systems. The more quickly and accurately the acquired data can be consolidated, the faster your company can realize the value from the acquisition. Another example where accuracy is important is inventory data. If you don't know what you have, you may order more of something that you do not need, or you may not order from the preferred vendor to get the best pricing. Poor data quality can also turn into a roadblock to productivity if it requires hours of endless searching for a user to find what they are looking for. Tempting as it might be, I am not going to turn this video into a data management lesson, as there are many better sources for that generic type of information. I will just try and give you some common sense advice, specifically around ERP data, but the concepts apply for any enterprise application data. I would recommend that you develop and implement a set of principles, standards, and practices to ensure that your data is available, organized, and accurate for your company. Do not confuse the concepts of data governance, which is defining the rules, and data stewardship, which is enforcing the rules. What I have seen work well is centralizing stewardship for dedicated data administration. This group, or individuals, would have the authority to enforce the standards based on defined rules. This helps to ensure data quality, integrity, and consistency, and also removes any duplication of effort. They would also maintain a data ownership list and understand the cross-functional impact of changes, avoiding issues from working in silos. The governance of ERP data can then be distributed to define the data ownership, rules, and standards. In other words, I recommend that you manage ERP Master Data centrally, but distribute the ownership and accountability of the data quality to the appropriate business area. In an ERP or any other enterprise application, you typically have three types of data, and it is advisable to understand the relationship between them. Configuration data is really the controls of your system, and are not likely to change very often. These are things like your accounting periods and legal names. Then there is master data, which, as the name implies, is important because it drives the quality of the transactional data. I like to think of master data as people, places, and things. Examples are employees, customers, vendors, assets, items, inventory, facilities, offices, and buildings. but it also includes concepts like contracts or projects, and the elements of your chart of accounts, such as cost centers. Transactional data can be identified by the fact that it usually contains currency or unit amounts that are then used to report results or calculate trends. Its structure is driven by both configuration and master data, and is typically the data that is used to make critical business decisions. ERP Master Data is really the place to focus your data quality efforts. It needs to be managed in context of the entire company, understanding where it is used so that any changes can be communicated appropriately to minimize any downstream impact. It is really the business, not IT, that needs to take ownership of the data and drive the quality improvements. As with all other things, if you do not have the support of your leaders, then an ERP Master Data Quality Improvement Initiative is unlikely to be successful. You need to start from the top to instill a culture of valuing data so that everyone takes accountability for data quality and fixes problems at the source. You have likely heard the saying, garbage in, garbage out, which applies here. There are some typical challenges for ERP data. Probably the most common issue is that you have multiple systems that need to be synchronized, and you are not clear on which is the single source of truth. An example of this is customers, which may be in your CRM system and your accounts receivable ERP system. If you do not have an automated integration to sync those two systems, you will be relying on manual entry and reconciliation reports. Never a good long-term plan, and will likely lead to inaccurate billing or otherwise annoying your valuable customers. I can see the light. Another problem is that you may have multiple groups entering data into the same table. For example, you may have employees managed by HR and vendors by accounts payable, and these two departments use the same people information table differently. This will make any kind of consistent reporting a challenge. You may also have business processes that do not enforce data integrity and quality. For example, you may expect only certain values in a given field. If you do not have a table lookup edit to control this, you are unlikely to get consistent entry. Lastly, you could have business rules that encourage bad data quality. For example, a company name on an invoice must exactly match the vendor name before it is paid, even if the invoice sender is inconsistent with their company name. I have seen this rule lead to a proliferation of vendor records for the same entity, which confuses everyone. As a last point, don't forget to define backup and recovery for your ERP data, all of it. I mentioned some considerations on this subject in video number 13, What are your ERP requirements, when I discussed business continuity. With cloud offerings becoming more prevalent, this may be something that your ERP product vendor will take care of for you, but you need to know what they offer and ensure that it will meet your business requirements. I hope the advice that I have shared in this video will help you understand the importance of ERP data and how best to look after it. This concludes the What is Special About ERP Data topic. There is a link on askmserp.com to email me to ask questions or suggest topics for future videos. Or you can just add comments on any YouTube video. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks, and see you on the next video.